North and South Koreas are divided by many things, including when they were founded. Both countries gained their independence from Japan at once when the Japanese Empire surrendered to the Allied forces at the end of World War II on August 15, 1945. But since that day, the two nations have taken very different paths. This is Across the DMZ and Into the DPRK in a nutshell. The DPRK celebrates September 9th as its foundation anniversary. That is the day the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was founded in the North. The South celebrates October 3rd. Geographically, North and South Koreas are divided by what is known as the United Nations designated military demarcation line, which they agreed to at the end of an inter-Korean war in 1953. To the north and south of that demarcation line, and for a depth of 2 kilometers on either side, runs what is known as a demilitarized zone. That's a misleading name because, in point of fact, it constitutes one of the world's most heavily fortified areas. There are vast minefields and razor wires set up and military troops stationed on each side. The hostilities that sparked that war were not entirely Korean and were rooted in an earlier conflict, the Second World War. Towards the end of World War II, Soviet forces were increasingly scoring victories against Nazi Germany. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin had promised other Allied leaders under the Yeltsin agreements to join the fight against Imperial Japan as well, and so after midnight on August 9th, 1945, it made good on that promise. The United States had detonated an atomic bomb over the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6th, but the Japanese refused to surrender. And so hours after the Soviet invasion of Japanese-held territories, the United States dropped another atomic bomb on the city of Nagasaki, and the Japanese surrendered. By then, the Soviet forces, who had also attacked Korea, ruled by Japan since 1910, had advanced much and occupied much of northern Korea. US forces occupied parts of the south, but anxious by the fast movement of the Soviets, the Americans proposed that the side above the 38th parallel be Soviet occupation zone and the side below America's. The Soviets agreed. Korea was divided, and under the influence of the US and the Soviet Union, each side of the country quickly transformed. On September 9th that same year, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was proclaimed on the northern side of Korea, and Kim Il-sung became prime minister. But both the governments of northern and southern parts of Korea claimed to be the legitimate rulers of all of Korea. In 1950, North Korean forces attacked the South to unify the country. In the war that ensued, the South Koreans were aided by American forces, and the war lasted until 1953. In that year, the two sides agreed to an armistice, and the United Nations designated what is now the official border between the DPRK and South Korea. And the two sides agreed to stop fighting alongside that border in what is now known as the Demilitarized Zone, or the DMZ. But a peace agreement had not been signed and broader hostilities were not resolved. To this day, the DMZ remains heavily fortified, lest the other side may venture beyond the demarcation line, and mutual distrust runs deep between the two governments. The United States has massive influence over the South and substantial military presence in the region, effectively keeping a threat of force above the North. North Koreans are naturally alarmed and are ready for the worst. That preparation manifests itself every year on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea's National Day, September 9th. One perpetual ritual of the day is massive military parades to showcase northern readiness for war should it come their way.